Good morning, folks, and happy Good Friday. I just wanted to share a couple of thoughts about this day that we do refer to as Good Friday. It seemed very, very odd to me as an atheist years ago. I thought it was sick that it would be referred to in such a way. And you could understand my reasoning a little bit, I think. Betrayed and abandoned by those closest to him. Good Friday. Rejected by the very people that he came to save. Good Friday. Beaten, mocked, ridiculed. Good Friday. He was whipped by the Romans in a manner that historians tell us sometimes killed people, just the flogging. Good Friday. And then torturously executed in a manner devised by perhaps the most brutal regime ever to exist on the earth. Good Friday? Yeah. Yeah, Good Friday. Shared by a prophet more than 7 centuries before it occurred. Of course, I'm in chapter 53 in Isaiah. Surely he took up our infirmities and carried our sorrows. I'm going to personalize this a little more, and I want to encourage you to do the same. Yet we considered him stricken by God, smitten by him, and afflicted. He was pierced for my transgressions. He was crushed for my iniquities. The punishment that brought me peace was upon him. And by his wounds I am healed. I am healed. I, like sheep, I've gone astray, and I've turned my own way. But the Lord laid on him the iniquity of me, the iniquity of us all. It goes on to say in verse 12, therefore I will give him, the Messiah, a portion among the great. He will divide the spoils with the strong, because he poured out his life unto death and was numbered with the transgressors. For he bore the sin of many, and he made intercession for the transgressors. Undeserved by us, but absolutely necessary. And because it was absolutely necessary for us and for us to have any future for eternity, he did what needed to be done and what we could not do for ourselves. Good Friday, sounding better. We're told in the second letter to the Corinthians that we have, that God made him, Christ, who knew no sin, the only perfect sinless one ever, the God-man, God the Son, the Lamb of God that takes away the sin of the world. God made him to be a sin offering for us in our place. Why? So that we could become the righteousness of God. And in Romans in chapter 5, we're told that God shows his love for us in this, that while we were still sinners, Christ died for us. So Good Friday, maybe, but I think perhaps best Friday ever might cover it a little bit better. Wanted to share an old song, Marty Raybon's, with you that I think is maybe, I hope you'll find particularly appropriate. A boy of 12 from Nazareth was known throughout the land. He had a way of mending things that he crafted with his hand. Folks came from near and far, they heard his work was good. One day he would be known as the master of the wood. Well, by the time that he turned 30, through through everything he'd done. To everyone that knew him, he was his Father's Son. He carved a way for all mankind with everything he could, and soon he would be known as the Master of the Wood. Some said his name was Jesus, a man from Galilee. Some say just a carpenter, but he's more than that to me. He's the portrait of forgiveness painted with his blood. Designing our salvation was the Master of the Wood. In the city of Jerusalem, a man of 33 was convicted for the crime of love and sentenced to a tree. As they nailed him to the cross, they never understood that the final work was finished for the Master of the Wood. Some said his name was Jesus, a man from Galilee. Some say just a carpenter, but he's more than that to me. He's the portrait of forgiveness painted with his blood. Designing our salvation was the Master of the Wood. Designing our salvation, he is the Master of the Wood. Best Good Friday ever to y'all. And may God bless you real good.